Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
Loving what we're going to talk about today. Now, you've probably heard that Reiki is beneficial. Energy healing can help you feel better, reduce stress levels, just an overall better feeling of wellness. What about for your pet? It works for pets as well. So we're going to dig deeper into that. And she is somebody that works with pets all the time, is a game changer for a lot of people, even in bonding with their pets. Tatiana Maldonado is with us. Howling Om is where she's from, howlingom.com. Welcome back, Tatiana. How you doing?
Hi, Steve. I'm good. How are you?
Real good, real good. I'm a big believer in Reiki. Same thing with animals. For anybody, let's go to the basics right now. For somebody hearing this, watching it, and then, thinking, I think I know what Reiki is, but I'm not 100% sure. Why don't we just explain that? Get that out of the way.
Sure. So Reiki is an old Japanese technique, dated from centuries, decades, millennials ago. That is a energy healing technique. So there is no medicine involved. It's not a religion. It's not anything like that. It's more spiritual, more just about energy, and it's been used by more on the European side. It's more of an Eastern type of holistic medicine that's been used forever. And basically it's just channeling energy from the universe or from God or whatever your beliefs are, through your body. You're using it as like a conductor, like a vessel, and sending out the energy to the living being or intent that you might have, or something you're trying to manifest. So just giving energy to whatever it is you're trying to heal or manifest.
Yeah. And once you realize and get and believe that everything is energy, we're all energy. We all have different types of energy, different levels of energy. That energy vibrates at a different frequency. Once
Correct.
you're able to harness that, you're able to heal. And it's the same thing with animals because they are living beings. Actually, if, inanimate objects, this pen has a type of energy in it, completely
Correct.
different than people. Now, for Reiki, you get certified and there's different levels. Your level 3 is master Reiki practitioner. Is that right?
Correct. Yes, there's different levels, and level 2 would be you being able to conduct on somebody. Level 3 is a master certification, so you can conduct Reiki on others, or you can also teach Reiki to others, and you can certify them as well. And so the difference is just the attunements that we get with different Reiki symbols that we use to activate during a session. And the symbols are something that is kept within the Reiki community, within the master Reiki's practitioners. And we utilize those symbols to activate, to concentrate, to amplify, and to target, whether it's emotionally, physically, mentally, spiritually, or even all together, because you can use all of the symbols together. If you're doing long distance Reiki, which would be level 2, you have a different symbol that we use to activate that Reiki, and send that energy through to that living being or that intent or whatever it is if you're not local. So if I'm conducting Reiki for you who's in a different state, I would use that long distance Reiki symbol during our session.
Okay, so I want to learn more about the symbols and how that works. I've heard about it. I'm not really sure. So do you visualize whatever the symbol is?
You actually draw it out either using your mind, or you can use your hands on the living person, on the animal, on the paper, on the candle, on the intent, whatever it is, the car, whatever it is. You manually draw out the symbol, and then you activate it that way. So you can do it with your mind as you visualize it, or you can do it on your hands. And then as you're sending out the Reiki, that symbol is activated, that Reiki has activated, that symbol has activated the Reiki on your hands into where you're sending out that energy.
So when we talk about symbols, is it an object like a household object when we talk about symbol, or is it just something, different?
It's something, yeah, it's I guess you can say it's kind of like a figure, but it's a formula. It's like a formula put into a figure that you draw out. And some of them are pretty long and intense to memorize, which is why in the class, it's a certain amount of hours that you have to do in order to get certified. You have to actually practice as well, a certain amount of hours on other people or on yourself in order to clear your energy out and then start conducting Reiki on others. And once you've completed those amount of hours, then you can go ahead and get certified to the next level.
Are the symbols the same for everybody, every practitioner, or do they have their own set of symbols? Okay, they are.
Yes. Yes, they are.
So it's okay. So it's pretty standard once you get to the master practitioner level.
Yes.
And you master all those symbols. I just want to illustrate how legit this is, that hospitals use Reiki for patients, a lot of them, and also the doctors before surgery. They'll get Reiki before surgery just to make sure everything will be okay. It's emerging. It's a slow process. A lot of hospitals won't allow a practitioner into a surgery suite or a treatment room because of insurance reasons. But it works. That's why. That's why they're using them.
It works. It can be preventative medicine, which insurance companies don't like. So anything that's preventative medicine, like acupuncture, Reiki, anything that's going to target an illness beforehand, the pharmaceutical and medical companies, they don't like that because obviously they're not going to make money off of it. But it's definitely something you can still use in conjunction while you're in the OR, in the surgery room. You can use it right after surgery, once a patient has moved over to their room, once they're in therapy, once they're in rehab. Even for patients that are going through chemo with cancer, same with the animals. You can be there during their treatment conducting Reiki, or you can say, hey, my treatment's going to be at 2 p.m. today. Can you go ahead and send some Reiki at that time between 2 and 3 so that my treatment goes well, so that it's not so painful, or I don't, it doesn't affect me so strongly, with the vomiting or with feeling fatigued, all of those things. So you can conduct Reiki anytime. And like you said, doctors are becoming more open to it. Veterinarians are becoming more open to it. The animal world is becoming more open to it as well. Trying to get the zoos involved, trying to get the aquariums and all of these animals that are in captivity. We're trying to bring some awareness to them as well, because it's very beneficial for all of the animals that are there. They're not in their natural habitat. Some of them were born in captivity, so they don't know any different. Some have been rescued from the wild and brought back in. And then you have like the turtle hospital in the Keys in Miami, where they rescue these huge sea turtles, and they put them through surgery, whether they're taking tumors off, if they've been caught in a fish net, if they have a fish line stuck to them, if something's been wrapped around their fin or their leg and they have to been amputated. And so they're in captivity for a while, healing, which is where the Reiki would be super beneficial. And then we have the release date where these doctors and these technicians and all of these people come out to push this huge sea turtle back into the ocean after this process of healing and going through all of this traumatic event for them, really. And Reiki is amazing even for that, just having that, being there for the release, activating the Reiki, sending the sea turtle off back into its habitat. So zoos, aquariums, hospitals for sea animals, dolphins, all of those, it would definitely be beneficial for all those animals, because even if they're not going to go back into the wild, it'll help them cope being in captivity and being constrained to where it's, limited to where they're at.
I just can't imagine why they wouldn't do it, because Reiki has been around for so long. There are tens of thousands of practitioners. If it didn't work, people wouldn't gravitate to it, and there wouldn't be practitioners. It's just, there it is right there.
I know. It's it's more, there's more awareness now, but it was kind of the same thing like with yoga and meditation. Like it's been around for ancient, it's an ancient technique, just like Reiki. It's been done since Cleopatra times, since before then. The Greeks used to do it, the Roman Greeks, everybody used to do it. It was something very, in their time, very casual, something very popular. It was something in their daily routine. And so when yoga and meditation came in and was reintroduced, everybody went crazy and they're like, oh my God, have you tried this? This is amazing. It releases energy. It balances you. It brings you at peace. It gives you all this, you know, serenity. And it was like a big hit, but really it's been around forever. So Reiki is kind of falling into that now. It's kind of where it's been around forever. It's an ancient technique, but it's kind of slowly coming into where it's like the in thing, and people are like, have you tried this? Have you heard of this? Have you done this? Because really, unfortunately, Reiki is kind of like the last option that clients turn to. So if they've tried all of the Western medicine, they've tried laser, you know, chiropractics, or they'll try electric lasers for the spinal fusions. If they've spent thousands of dollars at the vets on surgeries, all kinds of stuff. And then Reiki now is like the last option they turn to, and they say, hey, I've tried everything. I've heard about this Reiki. You know, do you think it would help? Can it help? Let's try it. This is my last option. So slowly we're trying to creep into where it's not the last option, and either let's try it beforehand or let's continue with the Reiki, even if it's once a month, kind of like just like a treatment once a month, where we can kind of keep everything stable to avoid getting to that point where it's like, okay, this is my last option. Can you save my animal? Will it save my animal? So that's where we're at with Reiki currently.
You think about Reiki on humans, and our brains, we always have so much going on. And sometimes it's maybe Reiki goes where the energy needs to go, but there could be some blocks there, whatever the case may be. Animals are so just free spirited. And I got to believe that based on all of that, that it helps them even more. It's even more beneficial for animals.
Absolutely. Because they don't form those natural blocks that we do. They're not constantly, thinking, about their day and stuff like that. So when the Reiki is applied, given, they're really present in that moment. They're really absorbing and feeling all of the energy. And they're not putting up those guards and those blocks that humans naturally do. They're not even skeptical about it because they are energy, because they feel energy, and because they speak with energy, they understand it. So they're not even skeptical to say, what is this? Is this going to work? What they feel is, oh, this is energy. It feels good. It feels different. It feels uncomfortable. It's doing some things to me. And like this weekend, I had 6 horses that I did, different horses. And Pearl stood out specifically because she was open to the Reiki, but she was clear. She was direct. She took the Reiki in 15 minutes. She was done. She let me know, and she was out of there. She's like, all right, thank you. It was great. Gotta go. I'm good. And then I had another horse, Cotton, who the owner thought, I don't really think she's going to be receptive to that, but let's see how it goes. And she was the most receptive. She loved the energy. She leaned into my hands. She moved around to where she wanted it. She was very open to me to give it to her in the heart chakra, which for horses, it's a very sensitive area that they must trust you in order to put your hand where the heart chakra is. And she was very open to it. She hugged me with her whole head. She put her head on here. She was very thankful. So for her, the energy felt amazing. For Pearl, I can tell she was like, yeah, I like it. I can sense it's doing things. She could feel it's doing things to her bodies. And then she was like, okay, I'm done. So animals in general, they just feel the energy and they don't block it and they're not skeptical to it like humans are. You know, humans will lay down and be like, all right, let me see if this really works. What am I supposed to feel? Is it tingly? Is it hot? I don't feel anything. I don't think this is working. What is this doing? How long is this going to be? And so all of those things kind of, they don't allow the Reiki to fully submerge into the body when our consciousness is going.
Yeah. That was the horse example, Tatiana. Wow.
Yeah.
You know, that illustrates how powerful it is. And then on the comparison to humans, we're always the majority of us in a fight or flight mode. Like we're always stressed out. We're always thinking, always worried about everything. Even if it's not thinking about the Reiki as you're going to get a session, you're thinking about other stuff. So that is putting the blocks on chakras and makes it I guess, a Reiki practitioner's job even harder to make sure the energy gets where it's got to go and make them feel more relaxed and transfer that energy.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why you can tell right away which clients are open to it, which clients have that tense energy where they're not sure. Then you have clients that fall asleep right away. And that's the best way. Falling asleep is the best because you're in your subconscious and the energy really just absorbs in the body. It really travels well. It flows well. But yeah, you can feel right away when you're doing Reiki on any animal, including humans, if their energy is tense, if they're not sure about the Reiki, or if it's feeling off or weird to them. I've had human clients where I've started the Reiki session and they've cried right away and they're just like, oh my God, I don't know why I'm crying. And I'll tell them it's fine. It's a release. You've had stored emotions in your body and the Reiki's flushing it out. So you're crying. That's okay. And same thing with the animals. They'll just release in a different way. You know, they'll cough, they'll breathe differently. The horses will flare up their top lip to their nose. They'll use the bathroom instantly. So you get all forms of releases. Their skin will quiver, the bottom lip will quiver, they'll shake stuff off as well, that energy, whatever's pushing through. So it's very interesting to see how every animal, including humans, have their own release that their body uses.
When you see a dog, you know, do the shake, you know, they're just like, are they shaking something off, or are they just uncomfortable with the way their fur feels?
No, they're shaking off that energy. I mean, unless they have an allergy, going on, some type of allergic reaction, or they have chronic allergies. For the most part, when you see dogs playing, when you see them brushing up against each other, when you see them rolling on the floor, even when they get on the couch and they're excited, as soon as they shake, they're shaking off that energy, whether it's a bad experience, a good experience, whether they absorb something their body doesn't need. And animals instinctively can shake that off, unlike humans. Humans cannot do that. But yes, when they shake, they're shaking off tons of energy that doesn't serve them.
Wow. Because as I go through my memory with my dog, when he does it, it's usually after a situation. So it could be a good situation, could be a bad situation, whatever it might be. Yeah. But there's never been a time like I first, before I discovered energy and its power, I used to think that it was just, you know, this fur doesn't feel right. So it's just, you know, like you're adjusting something. That's what I thought it was. But there was no reason for it. It's not like, you know, he got up from laying on the couch and his fur was matted or whatever. Right. It's usually after something went down. Let's say somebody came over, they were playing with him or something. So that's like super cool to know that they're able to do that with their energy. Wow.
Absolutely. Even when they get up from a sleep, cats, dogs, when they get up from sleeping, they normally stretch and shake. So they're shaking off that energy from the sleep. They're pretty much saying, okay, I'm shaking off that energy, ready for what's coming, ready for this next moment, because animals do live in the present, unlike us. And so they're always ready for that moment. So in this moment, I'm shaking that off, and then now we're proceeding. And it can go as far as animals in the wild, like gazelles, shaking off that energy when they're being chased by a predator, by let's say a lion that's been trying to chase them. Sometimes they'll get pinned down, but not necessarily eaten. And it's like a traumatic event. Their body instinctively as a survival mode, once they shake that off, that moment, it resets the brain. And that way they don't hold on to that trauma, which is why some people will say, well, don't they know they're going to be chased? Don't they know they're prey? Don't they see the lion? The body doesn't recognize the chase anymore because their survival mechanism and their defense mechanism is to shake things off, and it keeps them from holding on to those traumatic events.
That being said, do animals, I would imagine they still have to heal from things too. Let's say something
Absolutely.
Yes.
happened
when they were way younger. Let's say you have
Yeah.
a rescue and there was a, abusive situation or whatever it is. So while they can shake off some stuff, they can't alone shake off everything.
Correct. Yes. I had a client this weekend with a horse named Aztec, a Mustang. And she was giving me the history on him, and she had explained how she feels that he's holding on to something emotionally. He gets anxious sometimes in certain times. And she was explaining how he came from a kill pen back when he was 2 years old. He's about 9 now, but when he was 2, he was rounded up by the BLM. He was sent to a kill pen, to a slaughterhouse, and he was moved around quite a bit. So he's had quite a history that he does carry with him. And so his trust level with humans is not at 100%. So she was wanting to work on him understanding that he's safe, that he can trust her. And she asked me exactly what you said. Is it possible that with the Reiki, he's able to let go? And the answer to that is some animals do and some animals don't. What Reiki can do is help them process and understand their feelings. It doesn't necessarily mean that they will let it go. Some of them can, just like we do. Some of us can forgive and forget. Some of us can forgive and not forget. Right. And it's the same with the animal. They can process the feelings and say, okay, I understand. And I remember that from my past. I can process the hurt, but it doesn't mean that I won't forget that moment in time, that if I were to see a kill pen right now, I wouldn't freak out. Or if I felt that I was in that same danger, because they vibrate in a way when they feel that they're in danger. If anything makes them feel the same way, even if they're not in the same environment, that will cause a reaction. That will cause anxiousness. It will cause them to act differently, where people might be like, oh my God, I don't know, he just freaked out. He freaked out because it was a trigger.
Yep.
So yeah, not all animals can let go of that trauma. The Reiki can help them process it. It can help them understand it. It can help them let go, but it's not a guarantee that they will. Just
and
like
help
humans.
them heal. Yeah, like when humans go through Reiki, like I always feel more times than not after a session a sense of calm.
Yeah.
So doesn't mean that call it bad energy from the past has gone away, but
Right.
you're able to deal with it when it comes up again. So you're in a calmer state. You're in a
right.
The last session I had was actually weirdly gave me clarity on a lot of things that I've been thinking about and dealing with, personally. Like 2 days later, I'm like, how did that happen? Did I get more sleep? No, it was the Reiki. It's so cool.
Yeah,
the way it works.
absolutely.
And then on the flip side, it's a fact of life that, when your animal is declining in health, I'm sure that you can do Reiki to make that transition even easier, right?
Absolutely. Yes, you can send a lot of love, a lot of healing, a lot of peace and calmness. If they're nervous, if they're scared, if they don't know what they're feeling in their body, when they're really old, and they're in that pretty much hour to hour state of like, okay, it definitely will help them ease over to the transition over and crossing the bridge, because as you know, when they're passing, we're very emotional, and they feel that and they sense that. They know we're crying, we're sad, our vibration is super low, and they feel all of that on top of them either not feeling well or not knowing what's going on. Even for animals that are in shelters or at the slaughterhouse or at the kill pens, and they're healthy and they're fine. And then they have no clue that they're going to be put down. Even the Reiki can help through the transition of like, this is the end, unfortunately, it shouldn't be, but it is. So even at shelters where they're putting hundreds of dogs a week down, that are healthy, that are vibrant, that are okay. But they just don't have any space for them. And unfortunately, like now we're in a crisis with that. The Reiki can definitely transition over that moment of them being euthanized. Yeah.
As I'm thinking back when I had to put my cat Maestro down 3 years ago, I wish I realized that Reiki could have made that easier for everyone, because that what you just said, like, of course, you're emotional. Let's say you're at the vet, go through that whole process. What a difference it might have been for a cat to realize that, to be in a calmer state, because your emotion picking up on your energy. So now they're dealing, with their pain, as they get older and they're about to pass, and all of that has to be processed by them. There's so many different beneficial ways that Reiki can help our animals. For you, if somebody wants to reach out to you, Howling Om, so HOWLINGOM.com is your website. Yes. I know that people probably have a lot of questions. So you do a free consult, you walk them through it?
Absolutely. Well, the first session, we do a little consult, like I did this weekend with these clients that had horses. And so we sit down and we just talk about what is it that you'd like to work on? Do you have any concerns? Is it something that is a chronic issue? Is it physical? Is it emotional? Is it mental? Has the pet or the animal been rescued? Do you know their background? So always a consultation. And then I like to meet the animal and give them time to also, meet me. And I have to say animals are amazing in the sense that they know why I'm there. I don't know if it's that they sense my energy or
probably.
They just know like, oh, this lady's like the good doctor. She has the good stuff, she always makes me feel good. Free consultation to target whatever the concerns are, get to know the client, get to know the animal, and then we start right away.
What you just said illustrates everything, in that how many times have you had somebody come over to your house, maybe they see your dog, cat, whatever, and some people the cat, dog feels good about, others they don't, because it's all about energy. So when you walk in, to do a session, they probably pick on your vibe, your energy, and say, this is good stuff, this is good, I like her.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's the same thing for humans when you walk into a party and just like, this doesn't feel good. I think I'm
or
leave
you're
early.
like, or there's like that one person, like, I don't know, I just don't like that person. Like, you don't even know them. Like, I don't know, I just don't like them. It's the energy.
You're picking up on it. Yeah. It's so powerful. Glad we talked about it. Howling Om, HOWLINGOM.com. Tatiana, always a pleasure learning from you, talking with you, and look forward next time we get together.
All right, Steve, you too. Have a good one.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house.
And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned.
This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org. and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.